Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series with me, your host, Gyle. I've got a Valentines special for you guys today, but before we get on to that, I want a quick shout out to Frazzle Dragon for a comment you made on the last video. You wanted to know if that megalith in the background ever gets completed. Well, this is just for you. If I've timed this correctly, he should be standing up. There he goes. So yes, he does get completed. That's for you, man. On to today's game, as I say, Valentine's Day special. I tried to find a map representing straight love, but was unsuccessful, and so since we're all living in a pluralistic society these days, let's head on over to Sedong's Clutch for a 3v3, and we'll see how these guys are going to get on. So, Team 1 on the upper land mass, shall we say, up here. We'll take a look, and down here at the front, we've got Jackie. He's in the red corner. He's going Cybrin. And then his next teammate is Igla. He's going UEF in the orange corner. And over here, we've got Blackwater in the green corner, and he's going FIM. Over to Team 2. At the front, we've got Skady. He's going UEF in the blue corner, and then down here at the left we've got FV Nick, or Nick. He's going Aeon in the grey corner, and last but definitely not least we have Doschnegger. He's going FIM in the yellow corner. So that is the teams and how they stack up. Not a great deal of mass to rush towards the middle to reclaim. In fact, there's virtually no reclaim at all, but there are 2 mass points for both teams here, so more often than not you're going to get there's also a couple of mass points incidentally that you can hardly see on what I can only be assuming is some kind of salt lake between the 2 land masses, but it does make life a little bit difficult to see what's going on with the firing over this kind of bright white, but generally you get some kind of fortification heading here and here. They're going to end up in the firing line. And you can see promptly the 2 forward players. We've got Jackie and Skady moving towards the front. A couple of land scouts in tow, or leading the way, shall we say, so they get an idea on the progress of their opponent. Meanwhile, you can see these 2 guys out on the rear side down here. They are heading out to their far islands, trying to bag the expansion as quickly as possible. And the same is happening down here. Doschnegger, he's making a move for this small island, but so far Igla not doing the same as yet, so he's being a little bit slower. He is working on some air, going quite early. Lots and lots of T1 power gens going up as well, so he could be looking to harass. We're going to get an early engagement here as the initial land scouts move forward, start taking the odd pop at each other with the mech marines and mantis in tow. Jackie now moving his commander up. He has managed to get up 1 land factory, which will help him reinforce quickly, but steadily is working on his 3rd. Should give him a nice advantage at the front in terms of numbers. Little engineer coming out for him there, bagging the 2nd mass point. Jackie is a little bit further ahead. He's working on a upgrade, looks like the gun upgrade. You can see the last of those mech marines from Skadely just getting popped as he's trying to get a bit of a run by to get into the kind of deeper throes of Jackie's base. Got some drops happening from both teams simultaneously to the bottom right. Engineers, 3 engineers apiece from both of the Seraphim opponents. And Doschnegger is going to drop 1 early to get some reclaim on. And the others are going to go back up the top. But they're going to realize that they've both arrived at the same time. The transports literally just park up next to each other. Absolutely nothing offensive on those T1 transports to be able to deal with it. So you're probably going to get some bombers and interceptors facing off against each other. And up here at the top left, no activity as yet except for 1 bomber and 1 interceptor of opposing teams just kind of skirting around each other. In terms of initial forces, what the balls. Okay, so Jackie got the T2 engineering suite incredibly quickly on his commander. He's gone straight for attack missile launcher. It's a very aggressive and interesting strategy indeed. Skady looks like he's got the gun upgrade, and he's marching properly towards Jackie. Skady trying to get a Cerberus turret up in the middle of the Salt Lake as quickly as possible. But Skady has other things in mind, has forced him off that. He's got some of his own reinforcing troops which look to be superior for the moment. He's got some more up here as well. But quickly back here, Jackie is spamming up a T1 PD. That's going to give him some extra firepower. That's now online. It's going to help to start popping some of these units. Jackie taking a fair old bit of fire, down to about 9,500 hit points as Skady is pursuing. But Skady is on even less as that auto gun finally goes down. He's on 7,400 strikes. So they're practically on a dead heat right now. And Jackie has cleared up all of the reinforcements. Skady is depressingly far forward into his territory, completely cut off from anything. Bombers coming in from Blackwater. I don't think he's going to make that anywhere near safe territory. He's going to be ejected from the game very early on after just 8 minutes of play. Kaflooey, very nicely done from Jackie. Auto give is either, yeah, it seems to be on. It hasn't popped any of his stuff. He knew he was going down. So Doschnegger now sitting pretty with all of his bits and bobs. He's managed to secure the bottom right while all that was going on. So Blackwater shooed off those, was shooed off with those 3 engineers. And this looks like a pretty grisly base that Doschnegger now has at the bottom 4 land factories. So it's going to be tough to break in the immediate future. But now Jackie making a bit of a push with the excess Mantis he had. Of course, 4 factories went down for Skady, so that's quite a decent force, or a place to muster forces for Doschnegger. He should be able to outspam Jackie in the immediate future. He's got a T2 radar up, so Jackie very heavy on the early tech, the early building tech. He's going to get fortified. He's getting some Cerberus turrets up as well. It's going to give him a nice view of what's going on and a nice defensive position. And up here we have relatively even forces, except the fact that Igla is investing more resources in producing more factories. So if that carries on at the current pace and doesn't get discovered and out dealt with by Nick, he looks like he may be able to take that. It's just looking like an engineer reclaiming base at the moment, and a place to get more mass, going around picking up mass points and so forth, so on and so forth. But rather interesting at the moment, despite the fact that Team 2 have lost their front man. In terms of map control, they seem to have a little bit more. That might change and even up once Igla, assuming Igla is going to be able to take it. He's got a lot more build capacity on this top island. And also Igla's been successful in grabbing this intermediary island here. It's got a couple of mass points on it. So pound for pound, he's going to be doing better than his mirror down here, Nick. And Blackwater just kind of probing with a few interceptors, trying to get a read on what he can shoot down. But this is looking for Doschnegger down here. That's looking very dangerous indeed. It's going to be difficult to break. And things getting very static indeed up here. There's 3 triads now in place for Doschnegger. So he's got some tech up at the front lines. He's done that with his some T2 engineers, which he spanned up from this factory. And he's now producing Mongoose out of it. It's going to give him some nice tech on the field. So neither of these guys looking to break each other just yet. In fact, Jackie's currently assisting his TAC missile launcher. Wants to start using that. I don't see any buzzkills in place for the moment for Doschnegger, so he can certainly take down some of these factories. He hasn't really got enough to make any kind of assault with the shield gens. I mean, he might not know, he won't know that they're there, so he might well go after some of the PD. But the first one is off and on its way. Flying straight over the top and going directly over this base, ignoring it completely and going straight for the rear mass, it would seem. Straight after taking a T2 mass point out of the equation. It's not a bad call considering the amount of access Doschnegger has to mass now. He's got the forward position and this bottom side island. He should be leading the game in terms of mass, and you can see Igla has made his push, although there's some T2 units, there's some blazes out for Nick. He's working on an Oblivion turret as well, so if he can get that up before Igla attacks, he wants to be moving in now, which he is deciding to do, and he's re-rallying the reinforcements to come straight in. Blazes are quite nasty. He doesn't want to be standing still with them though, and of course there's a Valiant class destroyer In fact, 2 of them hovering just off the coast. So that was rather an unfortunate piece of micro to head down that way, but I'm sure he wouldn't have been aware that they were in the area. So T2 Navy coming out from Igla. And T2 Navy coming out all over the shop. We've got Blackwater coming in with a cruiser on the right-hand side. And he's facing off against Doschnegger. He's got a few destroyers. Looking rather even for the moment, for the most part. Both of these guys, or most of these guys, going for they're not going for multiple naval factories, they're going for the one T3 and putting as much build capacity on it as they can. That's not currently in production, but you can see how many T1 engineers are surrounding it. And a little bit of a Zooey drop going on now from Doschnegger, landing just off to the right of this eastern island. But certainly Blackwater is alerted to it. He's sending in interceptors after those transports. Going to snag the final one. It's all going to be a question come down to how well he can repel this little attack. This is something I don't believe that artillery should be able to do, but that's just me. Straight in and could do well to take out this T2 mass point. That would be a nice targeted priority. He's certainly not focusing on it just yet. I think he might well run out of units unless he focuses on it now. And that is rather unfortunate. A little bit better target prioritization there would have gone down nicely, but another Zooey drop is going to be thwarted because all of the interceptors are hanging out in the area. One transport goes down loaded with Zooeys, another soon after it, and this one probably isn't going to make it out of there either. He assigns the interceptors to kill it, but it's not going to matter because he's straying into range from the cruiser, I think. I'm not sure who picked up that one there, but either way, it wasn't going to get out of there. It wasn't going to end happily for those Zooeys. You can see up here at the top, Igla has managed to shoo Nick off that island, so it's more or less even in terms of distribution of mass between the teams. Of course, Team 2 are still a player down now, and that's always tricky, the extra added attention, but at the same time, it will allow you to plow more resources into more targeted attacks when it's coming from just one person, and that can be always very handy indeed. A little engineer drop coming out from Blackwater, landing on that central island. That should allow him to grab that, putting Team 1 just a little bit ahead on the mass front. Of course, it's dangerously close in proximity to Doschnegger's base, and they may well get popped before long. More Zooeys coming out from Doschnegger. Probably wants to skirt it a little bit closer to the edge of the map, and it's exactly what he's doing. When I hold the shift key, you can see where they are headed. He's going right up the right-hand side, and this is actually, he's not focusing on this base for the moment, it doesn't seem. He's going for an attack on Blackwater's base. His mirror, his original mirror, wants to try and take him out. We've got a little bit of a drop happening here as well from Jackie. See where he's headed. He's trying to get into the back of Nick's base. It's all going to come down to whether or not that pops up on the radar. Have we got any radar here? There is a T1. I don't think that's going to cover it. Zooey drops coming in on the right at the same time. Slow this down a little bit. See if we can go to split screen and keep tabs on these two guys. In fact, that drop is changing and it's coming into the middle. And only one Zooey drop coming in initially. 3 more behind it. I guess it's to try and test the water. You can always land these ones afterwards. But what have we got down here? So it's a brick each with a deceiver. Very nice. A little bit of stealth. So that would have been hard to see anyway, because of course the stealth system works whilst it's in the air. So that would have been very tricky indeed. We'll crank that up back up to normal speed. And Blackwater is looking like he's in some kind of difficulty. He's got a hell of a lot of Zooeys in his base. Probably going to lose a bunch of mass. He's focusing at the moment kind of T1... T1 factories. Needs to go after the mass a little bit more, I would imagine. And I don't know if he's going to get that much done. There is a T3 mass point at the back which is going to go down. That's going to be a very nice pickup indeed for Doschnegger. Very well done. And these bricks now making contact with the forward frontal base. You can see Doschnegger trying to spam up some PD. And over here, back here as well, Igla has dispatched some Stingers, the UEF T2 gunships, to dispatch the Zooeys. as best he can. He's really made quite a mess of Blackwater's main base as well. Those bricks are now in amongst the units of Doschneger's forward position, working on the build capacity. It's always annoying. You can see how well they're tanking those triads. It's not even down to half HP. Finally, it looks like Team 1 have managed to deal with that, but a lovely little push that we've kind of missed from Doschneger. He's run by the forward outpost. He's trying to get into the back to do some damage at the same time. So it's all happening. These bricks still alive. This one down to about 2,500 HP. Takes out the power storage. Could be quite annoying if it gets down to a point where the Doschneger's ACU needs to overcharge stuff. Finally, those excess stingers we saw working on those Zui drops come in to take out the forward run-by forces from Doschneger. But one hero brick, 27 kills, marching past. He's just been killing engineers all day. There's a whole group more of them from Nick here. If he marches south, that he may be able to pick up. Oh, taking so many bombs, but popping so many engineers at the same time. We'll get it back over here. Can he make it into the water? 4,000 HP. Come on. Come on, son. 3,000 HP. 2,000. Oh my god, he's going to do it. I don't believe it. That's got to annoy them. 1,700 hit points left, and you can see the path of damage and destruction that he's wrecked on his way through with his buddies. Taking out 3 mass points. A whole lot of engineers died down here. So that's a very efficient little run-by for an investment of 2 bricks and 2 deceivers. And Igla's got a nasty little group of units together now. You can see, not sure what that was. That looked almost like an Aeon battleship. Answers on a postcard if you were paying more attention than I. That's a nice little pickup regardless. Actually, that may have been an aircraft carrier. That looks pretty chunky to me. There's another one spewed out down here. So clearly, it looks like Nick's been planning to use them to get air control. But now these unshielded boats are in rather a lot of trouble because you've got a lot of Spectres out for Nick, the T2 Aeon gunship. And they are going to town. We've got some reinforcing interceptors from Blackwater trying to thin them out. Trouble is that there's a hell of a lot more air coverage from Team 2 in the area. They promptly get dispatched. And Igla bringing some of his own into the fight. I'm not sure why Nick hasn't kept his Swift Winds and Interceptors on the case. And he is bringing them in now. Should be able to take those out before losing all the gunships. And Igla's taking quite a lot of heavy losses here in terms of destroyers. The Valiants, he's lost 1 or 2. He certainly will lose at least 1 or 2 before they get back to any kind of safety. It's kind of a shame Doschneger isn't primarying the same targets. They'd get through them a lot quicker. But over on the right-hand side, Blackwater has had significant success in pushing back the sub-hunters of Doschneger. He's got 4 of his own and 3 destroyers. But straying into range of 5 of the sub-hunters. Nice and interesting to see how that evolves. Another little Zui drop happening just south of this central island. It's going to work on the mass point. So Doschneger all over the place at the moment, as he needs to be. He needs to carry his team if they're going to stay in this. And the proximity to Doschneger's naval factory is certainly helping him out, but there are reinforcing units coming in from Blackwater, and Blackwater's got a couple of cruisers stationed just off the coast here, and Doschneger's doing a very nice job of spamming up those buzz kills, which is just allowing him to stay on top of that. They're not quite breaking through at the moment. And one more sub-hunter down, another one coming in, but only 1 left for Doschneger. He's an act of a desperate man, bringing in transports to help put some extra damage on those destroyers. He's got a couple of torpedo bombers in the area as well. But we've got T3 air out now for Igla. He's circling with some spy planes. When he starts producing ASFs, which he is, that's going to change the ball game quite considerably. It's looking like a nasty wall of orange up here now. And next time he attacks with his navy, I don't think Nick's going to be able to shoo him off with air units this time, but build capacity plummeting on this naval factory now for Doschneger. He's trying to get his commander involved, spamming up a T2 torpedo launcher. Not sure that's going to get finished. It's kind of tanking it. Just goes up, but it's not going to last very long. Oh, yep, and into range that sub-hunter comes to finish it off. So limited amount of damage, but that sub-hunter does go down. Desperately trying to hold on to this factory and its build capacity surrounding it. He doesn't want to pull these engineers back because he wants to try and get those sub-hunters out to reclaim some of the sea territory, prevent this from happening. Of course, the problem is now the torpedo bombers and the gunships that have been working for Doschneger are now getting popped by T3 air from Blackwater, so he's made the transition as well. I've got an awful lot of stingers out for Jackie, who's just kind of chilling in the area, and that's kind of interesting. They must have been gifted from Igla, unless Igla has given him tech. Of course, the stingers are the UEF gunships, so I imagine they were probably donated. But we've got some bricks down here. Jackie being very effective with his bricks indeed. Still leading the table on scores thanks to that earlier kill from Skady. Nick short stacking on the score, a little bit behind Blackwater. Doschneger, Igla and Jackie definitely in the lead, and I think this is going to be a tall order for Team 2 to come back from now. All of the build capacity around that naval factory is gone. He's not going to be able to keep up with the reinforcements. He's starting to build artillery on the land now to help deal with the surface naval fleets, but that's not going to help him against the sub-hunters. He's got those two cruisers that were chilling up here. They've stopped work on that forward base, wisely working out they're not going to get through those bug skills, but they are now putting fire on that T3 mass extractor, which Doschneger really doesn't want to lose. See how these guys are doing economically wise. Jackie sitting on 139 mass. Igla sitting on 300 mass because he's got so much map control. Look at that whole top portion of the map. That's all orange. Doschneger is on 179. He's floating a huge amount, completely unable to use it up. He hasn't got the build capacity at the moment. He's not even producing air units out of his T3 factory. I think he's a little bit overwhelmed right now. Blackwater is sitting on 107 and Nick is on 205. So Blackwater, after the constant Zui drops, has not recovered really from the harassment from Doschneger. Doschneger's been spending a lot of time working on those Zui drops, but of course the amount of mass that they take to build is very minimal. That's why he's floating so much, and the stingers and bricks have literally finished off this bottom hand corner island. So Doschneger, his supremacy of the map is rapidly diminishing. He's coming cornered now to the main continent, and I shouldn't think it'd be too long before he loses these two T2 mass extractors on this right island. He's bringing his Zuis. It loves his Zuis. It's clearly bringing them in. Won't be able to do anything against this sub-hunter. Should be trying to chase down this destroyer, but of course too easy if the opponent is concentrating, as Blackwater obviously is, to micro those out the way, so they're not a particularly effective counter, the Zuis, but it really is just desperation. He's the only way he can get any units out there. Has to hope that Blackwater's attention gets placed elsewhere, but holy moly, we've got a Monkey Lord knocking at the front door of Doschneger's main forward base, or what was once Skady's base, and that has been reduced to a smouldering pile of rubble, and I don't see anything in the area that is going to be able to deal with this. At the same time, Igla is pushing forward with his navy. He's got a couple of battle cruisers in there. That's going to be able to mince this little band of ships that Nick has got ready. It's not going to help him at all. He's got a few cruisers kicking about down here, but the shielding is all-encompassing for Igla. Things looking very dire indeed now for Team 2. I think we're looking at the death throes of the game. Nothing kicking about that's going to be able to deal with that monkey, I shouldn't think, as it goes on an engineer killing rampage. Those stingers from Jackie have made their way forward. starting to focus on the T2 artillery he spanned up, trying to protect Blackwater's ships, even though Blackwater's microing very nicely, but that artillery piece just took out a sub-hunter. So just shows you what AoE can do when it's landing in the right place. Doesn't necessarily matter that they can't fire underwater. They're trying to stop Doschneger from completing this chicken, because that's going to give them a counter to this Monkey Lord, although that Monkey Lord's not even coming for Doschneger at the moment. I think they sense they don't need to. He's just going to work on wiping out the huge amount of build capacity that Nick has been working on, currently working on what look like Solaces. Indeed they are. They're going to work on Blackwater's Navy, and they are an evil unit indeed, very underrated, one of my favorite air units in the game. But that Monkey Lord is absolutely unstoppable. He's going to completely demolish this base. Trying to see where Nick's commander is. There he is. He's sitting wisely offshore. But the problem with that is his navy's been defeated, and he's not going to be able to outrun the fleet of Igla and this Monkey Lord from Jackie. He's trying to get up at Tempest, but that's not going to do anything. I think he knows it. He's promptly walking directly under the fleet. There's not actually a great deal in terms of sub coverage, or rather, of course, the torpedo boat coverage for Igla. There are some torpedoes coming off the... Where do they come from? Do they come off yeah, they come off the Valiant, of course. They have torpedo coverage, and there he goes. Popped, so it's just down to Doschneger, who does actually manage to get his chicken online. The GGs have all gone out, however. I'd be surprised if he bothers to play to the point of where he dies. But he's going to engage with it, it looks like. And artillery piece is still opening up on the fleet of Blackwater. But a little bit of micro keeps them safe for the moment. And the map has completely, control of the map has completely slid away from Team 2. Doschneger relegated to the tiny corner in which he started on the central continent. As that monkey makes its way round, just finishing off the outer lying resourcing options for Doschneger. He's got his chicken sitting there waiting for it, but there's another one coming in down the middle. Jackie is spewing them out at a rate of knots. And it's only a matter of time, so let's just knock it up a notch. Give these guys some impetus to get in there and conclude the game. Very nicely done, though. Doschneger was working very well to try and hamper Team 1 as best he could with those Zooey drops, but while this chicken engages this Monkey Lord, it's going to destroy it. But he hasn't got the ability to take out the other one that's marched straight into his base and vaporized his ACU. Doschneger, a little bit of gamesmanship there. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, guys. Happy Valentine's Day once again, and I will more than likely see you tomorrow. But for now, this is Gyle signing out.